everybody, welcome. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Motion to approve the minutes of November 7th, 2019 Manistee Township Board meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Put on file.
For support,
I'll support.
been moved supported that the November 7th, 2019 Manistee Township Board meeting minutes be accepted as written and placed on file. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. You received the copy of the treasurer's report. Any comments? If not, place them on file. You received minutes from the Manistee Township Planning Commission meeting from October 2nd, 2019 and November 6th, 2019. Comments?
Also a public hearing on November 6th. And the ZBA meeting. All those minutes were in the packet. Right.
Oh, the ZBA meeting was in there too? Sorry.
Yeah.
Any comments on any of those issues? Any of those minutes? Approved. Placed up well. What was the date of the ZBA meeting? I'm sorry.
Well, these minutes are from April, but the meeting was last week Wednesday. They actually had a meeting last week.
November 6th. Okay. Anyone with anything to bring before the board at this time? Okay. Mr. Commissioner?
All right, good evening. All right, I'll give you a quick recap of last month's meeting. As you know, we all had that meeting at December 3rd at the casino. That was very well attended. I said there's over 200 people at that for the high Great Lakes water level and the erosion. That was set up from a resolution we passed at the county board at our last board meeting. And I can tell you, it's been quite a bit of a snowball since that resolution was passed. Berrien County also passed it that following Thursday. It's been ongoing. I just forwarded today to Dennis. The state senate requested the governor to get on board with that. I was in Lansing yesterday. I spoke to the chief of staff for the governor in regard to that and tried to explain to her some of the processes we're trying to pursue. I had a conference call this evening for the same thing. It's ongoing. There's a lot of momentum on trying to get some. I'm not looking so much for the floodgates of money to open up as I am looking to try to get the paradigm shifted on how to deal with this stuff as the waters rise, what's causing the waters to rise, what our abilities are to do with that, if there are any abilities whatsoever. I think we need to have some staggered warning signs, if you will. If we get 2 feet from historical highs, we go yellow. If we get 1 foot from historical highs, we go red. Those would mean different things to be determined. And the same thing could also be said for going low, because if we go low, that can have some great effects on shipping and the economy throughout the entire state. We aren't thinking in terms of low water right now, obviously, but when you start looking at these things, you got to look at it from both sides. Other things ongoing here. Dial-A-Ride is going to be going for a ½ mil from the .33 mil. So that's an increase they're going to be seeking. That'll be on the ballot March 10th. We have 7 total municipalities we're administering the zoning for right now. The Trails Committee that we formed this year received $8,000 grant from the foundation for the trails, and $3,000 of that was allocated to set up a 501c3 to help them set that up to be able to receive grants and pursue and have, raise money, trying to get the trail systems connected. I can tell you the rivers, there will not be an alcohol ban imposed by the Forest Service on the wild and scenic rivers right now for this coming year, ongoing. We just had a meeting with that, I believe it was last month. I'd have to look at my notes on that. Cooley Bridge opened up today. If you're reading your paper, I got that email yesterday as well. Pardon?
Already?
Yeah, all right. Well, everybody's having problems with trying to get people to do the work nowadays. Rail relocation, I sent out a letter this week in regard to that to Senator Stabenow's office. I received a phone call from Congressman Bergman's office yesterday on the proposed rail relocation. And what we're trying to pursue is a bridge going from off of PCA property, off the corner, across the southern tip of Manistee Lake, adjacent to, it's in Stronach Township, where there would be no land condemnation, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So it would make it, again, this is nothing but a concept that we're trying to see if we can get the traction, if we can get Eagle to sign off on, and if we can get the Army Corps to sign off on, then we're gonna, that's just the one phase. The stars have got to line up. It's not going to be easy.
Jeff, does the Corps have jurisdiction on inland lakes?
Navigable waters, I would guess, is the catch on that.
Oh, is that the?
I think that's the big thing for the feds. But then you get into when you're dealing with the rivers, they go back to a term for navigable waters. I think it's an 8-foot long log that's so wide and floating down, and we're getting into archaic nonsense. So.
What is that, arcade?
No.
Oh my God, I didn't know they.
I think that is probably the gist of it for tonight. Any questions, concerns, comments?
When will the trail committee meet, any idea?
I do not know their meeting schedule, but they generally, I believe they're meeting monthly.
The only reason I asked, it was brought to my attention that the trail that was put in the old ISD property up here next to the prison, they put a walking trail in there after the city cut that off.
I don't know.
Anyhow, it's deteriorating rapidly. And there's a shelter house there and
Yeah,
some signage and
that's the
stuff.
city, is that trail,
Is it the city's trail?
yes.
Okay, never mind.
They'll be annexing you next.
Thank you. Any
All
questions for the
I
committee?
have one more. You
Yes,
said you have 7
municipalities.
municipalities that you,
Got Bear Lake Village, Onekama
I wanted to
Village.
know how many municipalities there are in the county.
Well, what do we have, 14 townships?
Okay,
And we've got, is there 4 villages?
okay,
I think that's right.
so 18,
And then you've got the city.
19. Okay,
That's,
I was
that's
just trying
pretty,
to.
that's ballpark, pretty
idea.
close.
Okay, so more than a third,
It's growing.
yeah.
I know the city is really content with the work the planning commission's doing for them. I do know that. And everybody else is kind of in their infancy,
Mhm.
but what I've been hearing has been positive. And it's the one thing that I constantly keep saying is, when you're doing work, you make sure you're taking care of the customers, because if you're not, the customers ain't happy, it ain't gonna fly.
Mhm.
And again, I'm not looking to take over zoning, but I think the administration of the zoning at the local level, I think we can do a more efficient job of it for everybody. That's my take.
Well, you're in the office, 5
Well,
days a week.
I'm not, but they are.
Yeah, the
You
planning.
know, yeah.
Okay,
Anything else?
thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Guy, there's nothing going on in your office, is
Not a
there?
thing. No new complaints though, but I'm working on 2 older ones on Miller Road. One, the DNR's handling for me, and one I sent out a letter. Haven't got a response yet, so we'll see. Basically dealing with junk ordinance. So. In the In the zoning office, I only had one land use permit in the month of November. But Karen was real busy. She had 12 construction permits in the building department. 3 of them were for buildings, 1 for plumbing, 5 for electrical, and 3 mechanical. I have been busy otherwise on the zoning ordinance amendment, the city sewer agreement, 3 proposed developments in the township, basically. The tribal one, the dunes, and now another one across from the hospital. So Karen's basically doing 100% of the building department work. And zoning when I'm not around, so. And having to do with construction permits, last month I mentioned to the board that we were expecting some contractors here that were gonna tell us about their experiences with our building department and permits turnaround and stuff like that. And the board asked if we couldn't have somebody from Associated Government Services here, so Bert Gale is here this evening. I don't see any contractors, so, but I would like, if you would, Bert, explain to the board the process.
Sure.
So they can understand how it's operating.
Sure. So I'll start with the building permits, and then we'll sort of move on to what we call the trade permits, which are electrical, plumbing, and building permits, they would stop in with their plans and well, maybe start off with, maybe they'll stop in and get a permit application first. And then, do you have them online still?
We do.
Yeah. Or they can print them off. And then they would stop in and drop off their building permit application and associated documentation with that. Could be plans, could be a driveway permit, could be lots of things that may or may not be required with that building permit. Then somebody here will let us know that they arrived, then Peter, and then our building inspector, Jim Zimmerman, will stop in and pick them up and get a review done on it. And then he'll bring the approved set of plans back after he's got the review done. And then my office will email the rest of the paperwork here so that the packet can be ready for the contractor to pick up. So that's sort of the short version, if you will.
And the turnaround for this process is?
It depends, 3 to 5 days usually. If it's a commercial job, it'll be longer than that.
The residential new home construction, is that required to be architectural drawings, or the contractors draw them themselves? What is required in regards to drawings?
Yeah, that's a great question. 99% of the time, no architectural seal is required for residential projects. The caveat to that is that if we get over 3,500 square feet, fairly good sized house, over 3,500 square feet, then state law kicks in and they do have to be have plans that are signed and sealed.
Okay.
So not too often we get them, but we get them.
In all commercial ones.
All commercial require signed and sealed plans. Good question. The interesting thing about the 3,500 square foot numbers, you get the plans, but then you gotta open them up and look and see what you have, because places that don't count are basements. So you don't use that for square footage, don't use that number. Closets and bathrooms, things like that. So you could conceivably probably have a 4,500 square foot house and start taking stuff out and discover you don't need sealed plans. So that's how the building permit, did I answer your question?
Yes, absolutely, thank you.
That's how the building permit part of it operates. The trade permit's sort of similar. They can download them or print them at home online, or they could stop in and get a permit application for electrical, plumbing, and mechanical. Then they get sent down to my office. My office staff then will process those permits. If it's a homeowner type permit, we'll make sure that the paperwork's filled out correctly for that. For trade permits, homeowners are allowed to pull their own trade permits, provided three things are going on. First thing is that they have to occupy that house that they own. Second, I guess it's really two things, owner occupied for that. And then the next caveat sort of is they gotta really be doing the work. A homeowner can't pull a permit and hire Joe down the street to do work. Another thing they can't do is they can't pull a permit and hire a contractor to do work. The contractor, if he's gonna do the work, has to pull a permit. So, we have that conversation with folks a lot, especially the citizens, because they don't know. Contractors, most of them are pretty good about just getting their own permits and things are good. We have a handful of them that I won't name, not necessarily in this location, but around the state, that will persuade the property owner to pull a permit for them, and then they'll come in and do the work. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but then if my inspector goes in there and finds a code violation, we're gonna write a violation notice to whomever got the permit, the property. So I have that conversation with property owners a lot. You know, honestly, the property owner could pull the permit, we could go out through the inspection, we really never know, right? When we show up where it's done, we don't even know who really did it. So we may not know. But it still happens. Once in a while, we'll have a code violation, we'll send the property owner a violation notice, and then the phone rings. Well, the contractor didn't tell me that. Oops, I wish you would have started the conversation out exactly like that, but now that you have, we have to talk about this. So anyways, that's the way that the trade permits operate. I sort of forgot one step on the building permit process. That building permit gets brought back here, but it doesn't get released until Guy releases it, because he's got to make sure all the zoning requirements have been met on the building permit.
We usually send that along with the application,
Yeah.
just to speed up the process.
Right.
The other step is that we have to receive the money before we hand it to them.
Yeah. Trade permits, they can pay for them right when they fill out the application. And then this part of it's all done. The building permit, the township doesn't collect that money until actually the plan review's done. And then we do a fee calculation on each one of them. And then when it's sent back, staff here knows what the dollar amount's supposed to be. And when the person comes in, they can pay that dollar amount.
Trade permits turn around pretty quickly. You know, between a day or two, maybe.
Those are pretty simple. If a contractor's filled out a trade permit, then take just a little longer. Not too much, but a little bit longer. We're looking for that license number on it. And then when we, honestly, there's a prefix on these license numbers. You sort of know if it's, at least the numbering sequence is right before you ever look at it. Then you go to the state's website, and you pull them up, and you see if that's really a valid license, and the guy's name that's on there along with the license. And so it takes that just a little bit longer to verify that.
Questions? Questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And water.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
Have a safe
Trip
drive.
home, yeah.
Is there any other
It's
questions?
great.
Because I'll be glad to stay.
I don't think there's gonna be any complaints here tonight.
You personally are not in the field, are you?
Well, it depends on what day you ask me. Yesterday I was filling in for one of my electrical inspectors and was spent 3/4 of the day out to do electrical inspections. Today I actually did a large solar array down by Gull Lake, which is in by Kalamazoo, and spent 2 hours doing that one.
Well, these
So,
three
yeah.
developments we have coming are gonna have a fair amount of commercials. Two of them at least.
Yeah, I'm surprised we're not getting more like solar since we have that wonderful, I guess we'll call it demand by the federal government that the states have to have a certain percentage, and I forgot what the number is,
Yeah.
having alternative energy.
Mhm.
What'll happen is we'll start approaching that date, we'll get some gates
Oh,
after.
yeah, sure. Well, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Chuck, you got anything going on across the street?
Yeah, a little bit. So for the reporting time during November, we had 5 related for fire, 11 medical related, and 6 meeting station trainings and other activities for a total of 22. Officers had 42 hours, and then the complaint hours were 58 for last month, total complaint hours. Update on the replacement for 131, it looks like it's gonna be mid-July to mid-August of 2020. That's when it should be done.
You get the chassis?
They haven't gotten the chassis yet, but that's when he told me that the truck should be done, so. I haven't talked to him in about a week or so. 133, we're looking into pricing on those lights to replace, because the generator failed. By the time we got done ordering the lights from the other company in North Carolina, the labor ended up being about the same price as what FLSA quoted us. So we're gonna pursue that route of replacing those 4 lights instead of replacing the generator, because the generator, just a reminder, was 12 to 14,000 to replace, and to replace the lights so they run off the truck, just under 5,000. So we'll have those same lights. The station, the siren's being worked on. Jimmy E. and Ben Mott have been working on that diligently, and Ben's been working with PCA where he works to have some stuff donated, so that's coming along. It's taking a little bit of time, but it's being rebuilt. And then we should be hearing back this month from our state 50/50 grant. We put that back in June for some turnout gear, so hopefully we'll hear something this month if we got that or not. And then for training, we continued with, this past month was gas meter training, truck checks, search and rescue, finished up ICS 300. And then, just recently, they did some live training up in Benzie, so that'll be talked more about next month. But we just did that this past weekend. And then, just a little bit of interesting stuff here, Gordon, he got 10 out of 11 medical calls for the last month, and Dan Lasky was 6 out of 11. And then for fire calls, Sam and Jim E. had 4 out of 5. Dan, Dave, Pete, and Gordon had 3 out of 5 calls, so. And then Sam's been tracking who's been coming and going to the different calls, so we're keeping track of that. We're also keeping track of the training and stuff like that, so we can see where the cost is going. Firefighter 1 and 2 starts January 11th, and that runs all the way up until June. And probably 70% of the classes are gonna be at the station across the street, just because the location is good for everyone. We don't have we have 1 person right now, but it's not available on Smoke to sign up for yet. The state's website, it's not set up yet for that, so soon we'll know how many people are gonna be in the class. Hopefully sooner than later, because January 11th is coming quick. And then, we talked a little bit about the burn permit stuff last time. Matt's still in Florida at this time, and Dan talked to me the other day, and he doesn't really wanna do it anymore, so, we need to figure out what we're gonna do with that.
Well, the flyers that went out in the taxes stated to call 4002.
And then we'll try to work it from there, so I was just letting you know where they're at, so keep you updated. Other than that, it's all I got.
What is CLIA Laboratory? What is that?
That's a CLIA, it's a waiver, that's for the medical rig, for the test your sugar, we had to have a CLIA waiver. I don't remember what CLIA stands for, but
That's,
in order to have one of those in your rig, you had to have a waiver.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Always something.
$180, so call me, I'll bring it to you for 100.
Right.
I think that's a
Yeah.
That it?
Yep. That's
Any
it.
questions?
Yeah, what's the burn permit number?
4002.
The station.
Okay.
You get an answering machine.
it's the fire hall.
Well, how long do you have before you have to call? Is there a time limit or not?
You can call that anytime you want. no
And then
problem.
light a match?
No. You have to call that. This is the problem we've been running into. People will call at 11 o'clock at night, the personal numbers, and, or they're not even from this area. They'll be calling from Benzie County, they'll be calling from Wexford County,
Okay,
because they won't talk to somebody.
is that a 398 or a 723?
723.
723-4002.
Yep, and that'll be the station, and I'll have to change the numbers to see if anybody's interested in doing that. If not, I don't know what we're gonna do, because normally, because filers aren't gonna be doing it anymore either, from what I gather. Normally, you would just look on the state's website, and if it's available to burn, you can burn. You don't get a, like a burn permit, like number sequence or anything like that.
Yeah. It's always just been a phone call.
Yep.
And the state tells you yea or nay.
Yea or nay, yeah.
It's a recording in your
You
township.
just go to the
and-
website,
It's
Right.
on the internet.
green or gray.
Or you can call, and it'll say,
We would have to change the designation on the state's website.
which is simple.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a phone call, talk to Steve up north in Traverse City, he's in Traverse City 50, and they change it.
So we wouldn't be brown anymore, we'd be either green or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
It used to be if there was snow on the ground, I thought you didn't need a permit. Is
You-
that
you don't.
accurate or? No?
Correct.
Okay.
We don't need one. We still, we liked it because it was a
Courtesy.
courtesy call, so we know, so we don't get those odd calls at different times of the day, which we've had, even with people calling.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, gentlemen, and please tell everybody thanks for it's across the street.
Thank you.
Rick's working, the liquor inspector's working, so in his absence, he's given me a note that well, I'll read it to you. In his absence due to being at work, a written report for the liquor inspection for the month of November 2019 is that all establishments in the township are in compliance with the Michigan liquor laws. All right, resolution 2019-08, sewer rates. That's the sewer rates that were increased by the tribe for commercial users on their sewer system. It went from $13.50 per 1,000 gallons to $14.33 per 1,000 gallons. Residential stayed the same. You have the resolution in front of you. If we need to discuss it, we can do that after there's a motion and a second.
Motion that we adopt resolution number 2019-08, sewer rates with the tribe.
And I would second it.
Then moved supported that we adopt resolution 2019-08, which is the sewer rate for the tribal sewer system. Any discussion? Do you want a roll call?
Might as well. Chambers,
Yes.
Final,
Yes.
Dodds,
Yes,
Taylor is yes, and Mr. Berquist.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2019-09, which is a border review date change. That resolution has to take place because of the mandate, or the state, I guess it's mandatory, that we have the board review on the 9th and 10th, or 10th and 11th, I'm sorry. But because of the presidential primary election, this place is gonna be very, very busy. And there is permission involved to move the board review to Wednesday, the 11th, March 11th, and Thursday, March 12th. After discussion and investigation, it's been decided that that would be the best time to have it because of the presidential primary election. So I would entertain a motion that resolution be adopted to move the board review dates to March 11th and 12th, 2020.
What is that? I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution number 2019-09.
I'll second.
It's been moved, supported that resolution 2019-09, which changes the board review dates to Wednesday, March 11th, 2020, and Thursday, March 12th, 2020. You call roll again?
Sure. Taylor is yes. Mr. Duns?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Jankowitz?
Yes.
And Mr. Burkett?
Yes. Thank you. After a couple of months, Diane's office has put together the yearly calendar for Manistee Township. It's various board meetings, special dates, planning commissions, holidays. You've reviewed this for the last 60 days. I think we've come up, well, you've reviewed it more, but the rest of us have reviewed it for 60 days. And I think we've come up with a pretty close idea of when we want to meet.
Except we have a change to the calendar. From here to December.
Where's that?
December.
The last
The
Last
joint,
page.
last page.
Oh, I thought you meant that there was a resolution.
No. Change of the calendar.
The joint, it's the joint meeting between the planning commission
Right.
and the ZBA.
So
It's just-
what we want to do is have the annual ZBA at 6 o'clock on Tuesday, January 1st. I'm sorry, December 1st. December 1st. Sorry, Dennis. Tuesday,
Keep up
December
here.
1st for the annual ZBA at 6 o'clock. Appeal or not, but there'll be a meeting.
Correct.
And then the planning commission meeting will stay the same on Wednesday. I'm sorry.
Yep, and that's in place for the one that we have scheduled for the second.
Correct.
Just move it one day.
Your calendar says it's a joint, it's not going to be a joint. There'll be an annual ZBA on Tuesday and a regular planning on Wednesday.
A lot can happen between now and December 2nd.
Well, that's true, but we have to start with something. I don't know if anybody has any other changes. That's the only one that I've been made aware of.
So you want a motion to adopt this calendar with that change?
Correct, so we can
That
publish it.
Publish the dates.
Make that action to adopt this calendar with that ZBA change to December 1st of 2020.
Is there a second?
I'll support the motion.
It's been moved, supported that we adopt the calendar as amended for the year 2020.
Mr.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. Anything else we need to attend to?
No.
Received a copy of the bills.
Any questions on those bills?
The only question I had, Chuck answered for me.
I had a question.
Okay.
It's about the underwriters of Michigan liability and vehicle insurance
Mm-hmm.
amount. Is that an annual amount?
It is an annual amount.
Okay.
Both of those, accident fund and municipal, are annual amounts.
Okay.
They're right there together.
That was my question.
Yeah, those policies renewed November 1st.
Once a year.
Any other questions? The bills? Anybody want to pay them?
I'll make a motion to all the bills paid as presented along with the incoming bills for the month of, what is it, November, right?
December.
Well,
And December is coming in.
right.
Second
Been moved, supported, we pay the bills as presented as well as incoming for the month. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Manistee County MTA won't meet until spring. Zoning Board of Appeals will meet January 7th at 6 p.m. If there is an appeal. Is there an appeal at this time, Guy?
No, there's not.
Manistee Township Planning Commission will meet Wednesday, January 8th, 7 p.m. here at the hall. And the next regular meeting of the Manistee Township Board will be Thursday, January 9th. Excuse me, 7 p.m. here at the Manistee Township Hall. On behalf of the Manistee Township Board, I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a safe holiday. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Yes, I have a couple of issues. Concerning erosion, I went to the casino meeting that was last Tuesday night, and basically they said there isn't any kind of relief or support from the federal government or the state government for homeowners who are experiencing problems due to erosion. They did say, however, that municipalities can apply for grants, I suppose, regarding things, disasters or natural, damage to people's property and so on. So my question is, has the township taken any steps to develop any kind of support for people, property owners in the township who are experiencing problems with erosion?
Now, I may have misunderstood that, but I understood that if we as a township have a problem, but I'm not, no, I have not, to answer your first question.
Okay.
But I didn't think that it was pertinent to private residences. Did you follow that as well?
It
or-
kind of depends who you were listening to, I think. Because I think the gentleman, the inspector from the State Police Emergency Management Division said there is nothing available. And then the gentleman sitting to his next, which was Matt Schnepp, implied that there could be, if this happened and that happened, and it could take a year to even get anything coming that way. And it's a 75-25. So the homeowner would have to put up 25% of the cost of that, and it's a moving target. And it's one of those things where,
Well, we can ask for some documentation, I mean, them guys can say anything, but if they put it on paper,
But as of today, the township has not taken any steps to investigate the issue or find out what,
that was the reason for that meeting Tuesday night, because there was too much misinformation getting put out in the community. And I can't tell you, I left there with a great deal of better understanding of what I had prior going into, but I hope the community did to some degree. That was what.
we had an understanding, I think the reason for the high water was presented very well. But I think a lot of the people went to that meeting seeking help, and there is that.
Yeah.
Another question I have concerning erosion is the Bar Lake drainage channel that's being kept open, I understand.
Yes.
My question is, who's paying the contractor to keep it open?
We are.
I understand it requires pretty frequent excavation.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Because of the flooding of the residences, and there's sanitary sewer systems that are in there in their yards and stuff in the Bar Lake outlet, or Bar Lake region.
Yeah, so that drainage channel is being kept open in support of property owners that are having flooding issues.
Yes, sir.
Yet there's no steps being taken to support, in support of people along Lake Shore that have experienced
Well,
severe erosion.
this-
This threatens to their property.
The opening of the channel is done, can be done, as needed. For lack of another term, we can pursue this with this gentleman that Jeff mentioned, and see where we come up with it, sure.
Okay, another question I have, so you are willing to do that as a board?
I will.
Okay. Another question I have, general question, just for my own information. Typically, what kind of revenues does the township receive from the revenue sharing board each year?
The last check we got was $77,000,
Is that kind of typical?
and that was for
a year?
6 months.
For 6 months?
Correct.
Summer check.
Summer check, yeah.
So it's similar for the other 6 months, winter check?
No, winter check is normally small.
I see, okay, thank you.
Anything else? Now, motion's in order.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Been moved, supported, we adjourn. All in favor? All opposed? Thank you very much. Everybody have a safe holiday.